Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Pro Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay cast. We have got ourselves a very exciting one that I just couldn't resist casting, and it is good to be casting pro games. So, here we are on the map Everdream. In the top right-hand side, it is none other than Dream for Brave Star Gaming. Brave Star Gaming Starcraft 2, which is quite a mouthful, I'll say. However, Dream, I'm sure, representing that team very well, as he's been playing better and better. He's been getting back to that epic pro form he was before he retired. But now he's back, and he's looking real good. One of the top Terrans again, I'd say. Maybe not quite at the top yet, as far as Terrans go, like he would have been considered in the past, but he's still looking pretty darn good. Now, his opponent, however, is an absolute monster, if not the best Zerg in the world, the best Zerg in Korea. It's Jin Air's Rogue. Rogue's basically the guy who comes and crushes nerds' dreams. He's the guy who has simply shown that he's the best based off his success in StarCraft 2. I think he's won more prize money than any other player in StarCraft 2, and that's not a small feat at all. He's won multiple big championships, BlizzCon, IEM, things like that. And so yeah, it's just Rogue the Menace. I think he was last season's GSL champion. It was just like a total bop, if I'm not mistaken. And so taking down Rogue is not a small feat for any player. And Rogue is a player who chooses very, very optimal styles. Like if there's a Zerg player who you'd call a meta abuser, you'd say it's Rogue. And Rogue himself will be one to admit that. He'll play the best styles possible that he can, and he'll do it well. And so Rogue's going to be a player who will bust out a different strategy depending on what he thinks is the absolute best strategy at the minute. And whereas other players might necessarily stick to a strategy they prefer, even if it's less ideal in a sense. But yeah, let's take a look here. Command center on the way for Dream. He has gone for his Reaper. It's across the map now, starting to harass these Zerglings. One Ling goes down, so nice start for Dream. Can the Reaper get a second? Two Lings would be quite nice, but no, the Queen pops out. Sends the Reaper packing. The Queen will then be able to pop down that Creep Tumor or go for an inject. I think it's more of a Serral thing, if I'm not mistaken, to go for the Creep Tumor. But of course, every Zerg does it differently, and there's no clear consensus on what's the best way to open up as a Zerg. There's multiple variations, and it really depends on the Zerg, the position of the moon, what day of the week it is, whether you walked under a ladder, that kind of mumbo jumbo. How Zergs like to open up. Really, they all get to the place that they want to go, though, for the most part. And if we do take a look here, Dream is playing the way that I wanted to see. He's going for a third command center already. Third CC play is the style that Terrans are picking up more and more against Zergs lately, as Terrans are feeling more comfortable in their macro for the most part against Zergs. And so a 3 CC opening puts you in a very, very good economic spot. However, Zergs have been, even though Terrans are doing this build a lot, Zergs have still been conditioned, in a sense, to basically always go for a scout, always play it somewhat safe, because Terrans do still have those lethal builds they can bust out. And so this is why we see Rogue going for the Overlord speed. Now he's going to fly on in, confirm the third CC. He maybe could have guessed it would have been a third CC, but now he's got the confirmation. He knows it's not going to be any Hellbat timing, no battle cruiser rush right away, something like that. And so that's going to give Rogue a lot of peace of mind to drone up freely for the most part. But the thing about Dream's opening is that the third CC is actually so quick, because the Terran player just gets it out right away. Like doesn't go for anything else beforehand really. Just gets up the third CC, and so they're able to just start dropping mules very early on, have a very good economy, and Dream's already going to be floating this over. So he's going to be able to start saturating that third base really quickly. For reference, a Terran will float over their third base. I'd say lately I've been paying attention to it, and it's usually around the 6-minute mark. which Terran on a more moderate opening will have the CC lifting off, so this is a full minute earlier than you'd usually get. And a minute in StarCraft 2 is a very, very big deal. Dream's already going to be able to begin saturating up this base. I mean, once he saturates up is natural, but it just goes to show that he's got a very, very strong SCV production right now. Interestingly enough, a couple of idle SCVs just hanging out. What are those guys doing there, Dream? There we go, gonna send them to work at the third. And Rogue behind this, just playing it safe. He knows that there was the Liberator out, so he's got up a Spore Crawler at his third base. Pretty good positioning. His main base, getting up a lair, got a couple of Queens in position. He's got the double Evo ready to research once he feels comfortable. And then he's just droning up, so yeah, pretty normal macro opening. So this game could very well be a long one between Dream and Rogue. So ladies and gentlemen, can we hit 100 likes on this video? It's a tall order, it's a big ask, but if you can blow away that like button, it would be greatly appreciated for two of the best players in the world at StarCraft 2. And for what I think is going to be an awesome TvZ. Really cute move here from Dream. Setting up the Liberator on a potential 4th base location of the Zerg. It's not necessarily a given 4th base location, as there is other options on Everdream, such as we see Rogue taking. Even this base, arguably more so the more common one. But Dream just sieging up the Liberator, so if he feels the need to F2, then he won't accidentally pull that Liberator somewhere that it shouldn't be going. So I really do like little moves like that pro players do. We now see Dream. He's engaging the Queens. He targets down a couple of the Creep Tumors with his Hellions, and he's going to get out. He's going to be retreating away with those Hellions now. That doesn't want to lose him or anything like that. Defending his third base, keeping that economy going. And yeah, it does just go to show Terrans keeping their Hellions alive is pretty important. I was watching DreamHack, some of the DreamHack replays, and all that they were talking about was pretty much, okay, is Clem or Hero Marine gonna keep their Hellions alive for later uses? And now we take a look. Dream engaging the Lings of Rogue. This is a little bit risky, a questionable fight, but with Combat Shield done, he does actually trade out pretty well, keeping the tank alive. More Marines coming across the map, so I think that was an overcommitment from Rogue with just Lings engaging Marines. 55 Lings dead, only 8 Marines dead this game so far. The Hellions are getting their usage there as they do buffer for a few. The Banelings get some big shots off, but Dream is being forced back continuously by these Banes, lifts up his Marines, still gonna get a pretty okay trade against all those Banelings that Rogue had, I feel. So a really, really good engagement there for Dream. More reinforcements should be rallying across the map, and there's no counterattack or anything to slow Dream's advance, so he's probably just gonna get everything moving forward and just continue on with the push, and it's not gonna be an easy hold for Rogue, I feel. I mean, the Zerg player, he's managed to squeeze out 10 mutas, his Baneling speed is about to finish up, but he does not have a lot to his name. It's really not gonna be an easy hold. Siege tank getting set up by Dream. We take a look, there is yeah, just quite a force push in here for a Dream. The Marines stimming forward, engaging the creep, gonna start pushing that back. He can always retreat into his tanks, which are gonna shoot away on what Rogue has. Rogue's probably gonna have to rely on the mutas to try and set up a good engagement, but sometimes there simply isn't a good option for the Zerg, because as a Terran player, he's got Marines covering the siege tanks. Terran players have got really good at doing this as of late. So he's pushing the 4th base location of Dream. He's got the tank to retreat through, but oh, big Baneling connection as Dream's distracted by the Mutaling counterattack. And so Dream does lose a good chunk of his Marines that were involved in this push. He's got reinforcements coming out back at home to try and deal with the counterattack, and most of the Lings have been cleaned up. However, the Muta's still going to be a bit of a pain. Going to pick off a siege tank. Dream has brought everything forward for this assault, really. But since he lost those Marines to that Baneling connection, this attack has been cleaned up. Rogue has done a fantastic job at dealing with Dream, and I'm not sure what Dream has been doing, honestly. I know that he dealt with that counterattack, but it's not like he took massive losses or anything like that. Only 3 SCVs going down this game, but all of a sudden he's down about 30 army supply. Maybe he just hasn't taken the most efficient trades, like that Baneling connection, like those Marines against the mutas, but really not a good spot for the Terran player all of a sudden to be down this much supply. I guess he did invest in the 4th base, which will have cost him a little bit of supply too, but Still not a great spot for Dream, I feel, as Rogue, he managed to hold on to his 4th base. He's now getting up to that absurdly high drone count. He's just going to keep building Mutalisk here, and he hasn't really lost any mutas. Well, 4 mutas, not a terrible amount. So his count's actually just going to be able to grow and grow and grow, and Dream's just all of a sudden been forced into a macro game. His supply's not looking too good. There's going to be minimal pressure on the Zerg. This Thor is going to be getting surrounded by the mutas and the Lings. The Thor gets a few shots off, so it kills like a muta, but getting grabbed there, maybe it could have been a bit closer into the mineral line, and nice pick off for Rogue, who's starting to show that that really crisp Zerg play that he's known for. And I doubt he's going to let up, because it's also what Rogue is known for going for those constant attacks, known for just attacking the Terran when the Terran might not even really be ready or expecting of it. And so we see the Zerg player squeezing out drones, making more Lings, getting up an infestation pit, 2-2 on the way. The Zerg player doing a million things at once. The Muta's now going to come into the main, or the third, who really knows. Going to potentially catch a Medivac drop. Good reaction by Dream to save that. But we take a look here, the Terran player is so pinned down, and oh my gosh, Banelings roll in, hitting the Marines that were meant to deal with the Mutas. Beautiful 1-2 play by Dream, or by Rogue. Once again, I think the Zerg player going for an attack that the Terran really did not expect. I mean, Dream's like, okay, I'm doing my job, I'm defending against the Mutalisk, and all of a sudden, just like 4 or 5 Banelings roll in, kill off all those Marines. Really, really painful for the Terran. We see Dream now trying to push back the mutas in his main base, defend his armories. But as we do see, I mean, Dream, he's had to position units everywhere. He's not really been able to move out on the map easily, and Rogue's just had complete control of this game. And Rogue is one of those players, he'll get up to 90 drones, he'll throw mass amounts of Ling Bane at the Terran until eventually the Terran can't hold on no more. Banelings are now going to move into the 3rd base while the mutas are hitting the main, so multitasking by Rogue. Not going to get anything done this time, so good defense from Dream, trying to keep a tight ship. It's not going to be easy for him, though, as the Zerg player is just going to feel comfortable, or more and more comfortable as he ramps up production, as he gets up more and more bases, just making more and more Banelings as the game goes on. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you can make a lot of Banelings off off 92 drones, pardon me. And so all of a sudden the Terran player, he's in a very uncomfortable spot. Yes, Dream is getting up 4 more barracks, which I'll say is very nice. Gonna have a lot of bio production to try and counter the mass Zerg production. And he is starting to build up a pretty decent Widowmine count. 11 Widowmines, the more mines the better in my opinion. But there's nothing that's looking super promising for Dream. Even if he tries to push out for an attack, there's a good chance there'll be a Zerg counterattack. And so I'm rather concerned right now for Dream, because even if he does take an alright trade against Rogue, Rogue's just going to be able to remax make such a bigger army. And look at this, all of a sudden the Muta's going in for a counterattack the second that Dream moves out onto the map. I mean, he's got a few units still positioned out here, but he's got to deal with the Mutas, which are now on his side of the map, just running amok. His natural base is going to be losing SCVs. Rogue's doing such a good job with these painful Mutas, 19 of them out on the map, giving the Terran player a lot of grief. All the while, there's just 47 Banelings sitting back at home for Rogue, which can deal with pretty much any Terran assault. And the Terran player, he's trying to get up a 5th base, which I do like. I mean, you may as well build more CCs, establish more bases if you can't push into your opponent. But look at this, he's having to put in so much work just to deal with these pesky mutas. All the while, there's going to be a Thor getting surrounded by Banes and Lings. There's no Widowmine in position to help his bio, another Thor coming forward. But the Baneling's just going to crash into the Thor, going to start moving towards this base. Are they just going to right-click on it? They were thinking about it. These Banes may be a little bit overextended, but oh, Dream not really microing that bio, so going to get connected by the Marines. He's still trying to deal with the mutas, which are in his main base. And the Terran player, he's not really been doing too much. I mean, he was trying to get up this 5th base, but it had to be lifted off because of those Banes. He could have maybe invested in another couple of command centers here to try and establish more longevity in this game, but we take a look. Rogue, he's for the most part just been content with the Lingbane mass, or with the mass Lingbane Muta, but he's getting up that tech while this is going on. Adrenal glands, 3-3 on the way. He's making an extra 38 Banelings. That's going to bring his overall count to about 70 Banelings. We're going to need to see some god-tier Widowmine connections if Dream's going to have a hope in taking a good fight against this Zerg army. And to be frank, it's almost impossible to take a good fight against a Zerg army with this many Banelings when the Zerg has this economy, when the Zerg doesn't really care about what the Terran player has and is willing just to roll forward. So we see Dream moving forward. He's got a bunch of Bio, he's got Marauders, Thors, but Rogue can just send in a bunch of Banelings. It's gonna thin out a good chunk of the Bio. Widowmines hitting some of the units, but yeah, I mean, the Terran army really gets thinned out. Rogue has got a counterattack, Banelings hitting in. The third base does take a little bit of damage, but overall Dream is doing a good job on the defense, I will say. And Rogue has spent a lot of his gas onto these Banelings, onto these upgrades. And so he doesn't have that big of a gas bank, but he's starting to get out those Ultralisks, which are going to make the smaller sections of Dream's army less effective. And yeah, just more and more Ultras going to be on the way. There isn't really an answer for Dream. He's got Marauders dealing with Banelings, which is good. Good trades for Dream, and he has been trading pretty cost efficiently, but whether it's cost efficient enough to offset the mad Zerg economy that we see, I'm not sure. I mean, yes, Dream did kill off one of Rogue's base, but he's got the left side base, he's got the north. Dream wants to push in right now, but I don't think he can against Ultras and Banelings at this point. Dream, I mean, he's still just making more and more Bio, switching into Marauders as a Baneling landmine goes off on him. Not the most efficient there, but alright for Rogue. More Baneling landmines being used expertly by Rogue. The Mutas going to be flying into Dream's base. Widowmine's going to have to land and burrow, try and deal with these Mutas, which are still being a pain. One gets a connection off on the Mutts, but we do see Dream trying to push down to the bottom right-hand side as this is going on. The Terran player just try to make anything happen, really. And so far, he did just take a good trade against just a handful of Lings that Dream had. But where are the Ultras? And that's where the Ultras are. As Dream, he's got all these Ultras. He's now got all these Ultras in his base. They are taking a rather poor funnel against this Terran Bio. So Rogue's starting to take really, really poor trades against this Terran army. And he's really starting to give the Terran quite a bit of legs in this game to stand on. I mean, Rogue is actually rather broke at this point. He's been taking poor trades, but not really getting too much done. He's lost most of his Mutas at this point. He's trading against the Terran Bio, but all of a sudden he's down on supply. So Dream, who's killed off that base and is now starting to push forward with a rather significant chunk of Bio. Probably one of the biggest pushes that he's done since the earlier stages of this game. 5 Ultras are out, however, for Rogue. Still on creep, pushing forward, but they're rather unsupported. No Lings in the mix to help tie up this Bio, and Dream's doing a good job targeting down the Ultras. All of a sudden, there's just 1 left, 2 left, as another moves forward. Corruptors are now on the way out for Rogue, but while they'll help pick off the Medivacs, they won't help with this Bio. It's going to be really all on the Queen's transfusing these Ultras, keeping them alive, but all of a sudden, Rogue's hanging by a thread in this game despite having an 85 drone count. One of the Ultras just went down. Dream's rallying out units as many as he can. He's got a few Banelings, but they can't roll in by themselves or they won't succeed in their attack. The Bio overstimmed for Dream, well, rather stimmed, taking a lot of damage from stimming repeatedly. But Jin Air Rogue invested all of a sudden just in about 7 Corruptors, which, yes, are helping with the Medivac, helping prevent the units from being healed as much, but if those were maybe another couple of Ultras, maybe it would have made the difference. But all of a sudden, Rogue just threw away so much at Dream. He didn't take the best fights, and now he's up against the ropes. He's still on an incredible 78 drone economy, but there's such a force here for Dream. 170 army supply to 44. Banelings rolling forward, crashing against Marauders. Not the best trades. The Corruptors have done a good job thinning out the Medivac count. Rogue's going to potentially be losing yet another base, but I mean, if he can hold on, he's still got a couple of fresh bases. In fact, almost all the bases on his side of the map taken. Another Ultra has just popped out, but it's really just by itself, and with the creep being thinned out too, it's going to be hard for this Ultra to get much done. The one Ultra running around the map, waiting for a miracle, as the Corruptors and Lings go to try and catch some reinforcements in a rather good move here by Rogue. Looks like the Widowmine gonna actually do some friendly fire. Traitor mines as the one Ultra's pushing forward. The Corruptors being chased away by the Marines. Able to tag off a couple more of the Medivac, but this base did go down. 37 drones have gone down for Rogue. That was a big chunk of his economy which died, and Dream is on a 52 economy with the Mule support too. So while Rogue was hanging on when he had a good economy, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to hang on anymore. A scan in the top left reveals this base, which I'm not sure is a base that Rogue can afford to lose. We see Dream. He's just waddling Widow Mines into this base. That's how you know it's a chaotic match. Dream's floated over his main base so he can get up that 6th base economy. Drones running away from these Widow Mines. The one mine goes down. The second one's going to get baited out and probably cleaned on up. Those lings are very quick, but all of a sudden, more bio just rolls to the north. There's a few lings out which can maybe deal with this bio. A couple of mines, 5 marauders should be able to be dealt with by lings, depending on the splitting of Rogue. And so most of the marauders are cleaned up. Ling splitting is good by Rogue, so the mines being taken care of. However, a lot more bios coming forward for Dream. One Ultra joins the party to try and help out. Widowmine's going to be dealing friendly fire, but all of a sudden we're going to be found with this Lone Wolf Ultra situation again. No lings to support it. Dream doubling the supply of Rogue, and it looks like that is going to be basically GG. I mean, Rogue's got these bottom 2 right bases, so he's not in a terrible, terrible economic spot, but he's simply lost too much. He's spread himself too thin, and I don't think he expected Dream to all of a sudden just be able to tear him down like that. Like, in a matter of minutes, Dream just tore down Rogue's, like, 80-90 drone economy to nothing, basically. And once a Zerg gets to that 80-90 drone economy, it's very rare that they actually start to falter and die, really. Usually it's like a one big push that does them in, but Rogue just wasn't able to keep his economy going. And so we saw that Dream just picked off a base, and it seemed like it didn't really matter since Rogue had so many, but eventually it added up, and Rogue just didn't take efficient enough trades. He's lost about 14,000 more resources this game, or 19,000 more resources this game than his opponent has, and so it's a very, very tough spot for Dream. Ultras are moving on in, trying to get a counterattack on this 5th base location. Looks like they will be able to make this happen. The Adrenal Gland Lings, the Cracklings, are able to deal a lot of damage, and they will shut down the mining at the 6th base, which is a nice move for Rogue, but he's simply still in such a poor economic shape. He has not been mining in his base at the bottom right because of this Widow Mine that ran in, and oh, the drones are gonna run in, but the mine's still there. It hasn't been cleaned up. Oh no! Oh, that Widow Mine just kills off so many drones. Rogue's economy going up in that explosion. And so while Rogue, he's got a decent chunk of lings at this point in the game, he simply can't really make any more units. He's down to 69 supply against a 200 supply Terran. The Zerg economy is in tatters. And while Ultras can sometimes give a Zerg a dream, not this game. And it looks like it's going to be a very, very solid cleanup by Dream. Able to take this game. I'm not even really sure where it started to go the way of the Terran player. I mean, Rogue was really hammering on Dream hard, and then all of a sudden Dream just said, I'm defending your attacks pretty well, and now I win. So really good game by Dream, showing us that he's able to weather the storm, and maybe Rogue was a little bit overconfident that game. I'm going to do a little bit of a post-game analysis here, ladies and gentlemen, but if you did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and slap that like button, join the Discord, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a member if you do want to support these casts. Like, look at this point. Rogue, 87 drones. Yeah, 87 drones. Almost maxed out. And he does get maxed out, basically, just constantly trading around with his mutas. Yeah, maxed out Zerg player. He's got, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases. At some point, he gets up to, like, 7 or 8 bases. And yeah, he's just got himself that crazy economy, which he can keep throwing things at his opponent. He had like 60 Banelings at some point, but I guess Dream just kept taking trades that were good enough that, yeah, Dream just kept taking trades that were good enough that Rogue really didn't have justification for the way that he was fighting. Like, at this point, there's only 1,000 resources lost difference between them. And Rogue's starting to build up a bank. An alright bank, not a huge bank. And I mean, he gets his 2-2 upgrades done, and he's going to be behind 3-3 to 2-2 for quite a while, but he gets up his hive. He's still got that crazy good economy. He's pulling his opponent apart with his mutas. He's got a 3,000 mineral bank at this point, and I think this is around the point which it started to go sour for Rogue. Like, Dream, he's not in tatters. There wasn't any major harassment blows to knock him super far down in the economy all at once to really take the wind out of his sails. And from this point on, we see Rogue's bank, I think, just goes into a steady decline. Like, the Banelings are trading against Thors, trading against small chunks of bio, which isn't great for the Zerg. Like, those Banelings, I mean, yeah, these guys, they don't really get anything done. That's pretty darn expensive. Gas-wise, at least. The Mutas are trading out, still being a pain. And then we see the resources lost. It's starting to shoot up a little bit. Dream's now behind, or Rogue's now behind 2,000. And then the Terran player, he pushes out with a small force to the center of the map. He's going to be trading against the Lings, cleaning up creep. Like, yeah, just all okay trades all around for Dream. I mean, the Banelings, yes, they clean up the armies, but it does cost the Zerg a pretty penny. This base not being defended was a pretty big question mark, I'll say. Like, it's not this big of a Terran force, I'll say. There's all the Mutas, there's all the Banelings, I guess. And then this army's been cleaned up to the north. So, like, why was Rogue not in position to defend this base? Like, he's sending his Mutas to the north, I guess, to try and clean up this Medivacs. He sends some Banelings with them too, but this attack here seems to be the much bigger threat, and they clean up this army, and then it's just Banelings rolling in, which are not going to trade too well against what the Terran player has. Like, yes, they're getting connections, but they're hitting, like, single or double Marines, and then all of a sudden the resource is lost. Rogue losing that base, he's behind 5,000, then Dream just gets the next blow after blow, and it's really quite crazy what happened this game. Usually a Zerg would have ran a bit of a tighter ship and kept it together, and then eventually worn the Terran down, but Dream did seem to play just pretty darn efficient, and so I think that's all we really need to see. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching. My name is LaughNgamez. I'll see you next time.